You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hey, this is John Preston, Marine combat veteran and Pacific Records recording artist. Just reaching out to have you check out our new album, Battle Cry, Songs of America's Heroes, an album featuring phenomenal other combat veteran artists like Scott Brown of the Scooter Brown Band, Ryan Weaver, Rowdy Johnson, just an incredible mix of people. This is all veterans telling our stories and our lives, and we're giving 100% of our proceeds to the Valkyrie Initiative to help veterans and first responders integrate back into society. I myself have battled with post-traumatic stress for many years and lost my own brother, a Marine Corps veteran, to suicide. I ask that you step with us and make this happen. We are in pre-order right now and release on March 17th. Go to iTunes, go to Amazon, buy. We plan on making the charts and making it at a very high level, and your support right now makes a difference. This is the release of my new song, Superman Falls, which is actually about the loss of my own brother, which happened last year, and I would love for everyone to check it out, to listen, and hopefully it'll make a difference in many lives.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
Get your free inventor's information. Call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Welcome to the Hardcore Patriot. your host, Alan Ray.
I'm Alan Ray, the Hardcore Patriot. I'm not a happy Alan Ray. I'm disgusted by humanity in and of itself, and I'm ready to just unleash on this entire show. Hey, if you're faint-hearted, you might as well turn me off now, because you're not going to like a lot of what I'm about ready to say. So let's kick it in the butt. You know, I'm absolutely disgusted by what went on this weekend. You know, for once, Donald Trump actually said the right thing. He actually came on the news and he said something that actually made sense. He said that hate and bigotry in any form is unacceptable. Now, I'm paraphrasing him because he doesn't speak this eloquently, quite honestly. He said all sides were pretty much guilty of what was going on there in Charlottesville, Virginia today. You know, Charlottesville, Virginia, one of those coastal elite states, one of them states on the coast that are cultural epicenters, educational epicenters. That state, one of those cities, pretty close to Washington, D.C., not too far away at all. Yeah, their stupidity was on full display. And there's no innocent bystanders that were there today. There were no innocents in that riot. What happened there was just blatant stupidity on every side that was represented there, and I'm about to unleash on every side that was there. You're not going to like me, I guarantee you. I'm going to say something probably going to piss you off. But you know what? There's not enough of you listening to me out there for it to even matter, so what do I care? I don't care. You know, New York Times, one of the first things I read, they were losing their mind because, Donald Trump did not specifically call out the white nationalists. No, he didn't. He called out blanket bigotry and racism will destroy this country. We're not these people. We're better than this. And this supposedly cultural epicenter, coastal elite state, you know, the ones that look down their noses at the flyover states, they have a problem. They have a big problem. A huge problem. Because as much as they want to admit that they're better than everybody else, they're not. They're not. In fact, they're worse. These things that we're witnessing in this coastal elite state, they don't have a clue on how to solve the problem. They don't. These professors, supposedly these wise, knowledgeable doctorates in political science, political theory, social construct, they don't have a clue how to solve this. You want to know why? Because they read a bunch of books and they have absolutely no real-world knowledge on how to solve problems like this. And here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. We were just about completely over this whole thing until 8 years ago. 8 years ago. When's the last time, before Barack Hussein Obama took office, before that, when is the last time you actually seen a race riot? I ask you. Yes, there is racism in the United States. There has been, there is, and gasp, there's always going to be. You know why? Because there's racism in Canada. There's racism in Mexico. There's racism in Venezuela. There's racism in Argentina. There's racism in Africa. There's racism in Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, Russia, you name it. It is a human condition. And when a lot of people, like-minded people, get together with their stupidity and racism, they form a group, and sometimes these groups do stupid things. And guess what? Gasp! Gasp! This is not just a white problem. Let's address some of the crap that went on this weekend. First of all, let's address the idiots in this, whatever they are, Nazis. I call them tiki Nazis. Running around there carrying tiki torches, acting like Nazis. You're not Nazis. You wouldn't know the first thing about Nazis because you've never studied history. You're idiots. White nationalists. What's a white nationalist? What is a white nationalist? You think you own this country because you're white? Sorry, Charlie, go back to Europe. You want to know the rightful owners of this country? You eradicated them. They were Native Americans. My great-grandmother was a Native American. You eradicated them. This is not your country. You're a guest here. Don't ever forget you are a guest here. Keep that in the back of your mind. You're morons, plain and simple morons. Look at the picture of these Nazi, white nationalist, militias, whatever. Look at the pictures. Just scroll through some of the pictures you've seen, and they're these anemic-looking, wimpy idiots. They're losers. Every one of these people are freaking losers. They have no life. They're so mentally anemic, so mentally ignorant. So you could tell they just crawled out of grandma's basement. Heck, half of them didn't even have a tan. They've never even been outside. This is probably the first venture outdoors they've had all year. And they're outraged. Ooh, we're outraged. So we're going to get together and act like a bunch of social idiots and form a big group and go stand around a statue. Congratulations. And they're playing right into the hands of the neo-socialist left, the ones that want to squelch freedom of speech, squelch the Second Amendment, freedom to defend yourself, to take the Constitution, wad it up, throw it in a basket because it's an outdated piece of paper. You're playing right into their hands, and you're too stupid to realize it. What did you wish to accomplish? You think other races in this country are going to go away? You think that people that migrated here from Mexico, Africa, Iran, Turkey, Asia, China, Japan, Korea, you think they're all just going to go away? They're going to look at your protests and go, oh, you know what? They're absolutely right. Let's just go back to where our great-great-grandfather and great-great-grandmother came from. Newsflash. Again, this is not a white country. We are a melting pot. We are a melting pot. Now, that being said, and you do need to get over yourself. Oh, and by the way, if you call yourself a Christian and you were involved in that protest, do me a favor and just stop going to church. Just denounce your Christianity because you're a moron. You're an idiot. And you're about as much of a Christian as I am a Buddhist monk. Now, that being said, let's look at the other groups represented there. Antifa. Again, look at these Antifa people. Or Antifa, whatever you want to call. They're idiots. They're morons. You're no better than who you were trying to stop. Everywhere Antifa goes, there's violence. They start it. You see them every time. They go in there with the attitude that they're going to start violence. And it's funny because they do this in the name of anti-fascism. And their actions, even their mantra, even their flag just screams of fascism, of communism, of wanting the government to take over all the businesses and all the people and everything, totalitarianism, so they can have their way. What do you think's going to happen if you get your wish? You're going to be slaves to the government. Oh, by the way, you already are. But then, and this is the funniest thing that I've seen ever, is right in the middle of this one of the Antifa protests in Washington State. There's somebody selling ice cream. Look, a capitalist in the middle of an Antifa rally. Doing it in the name of Antifa. And these Antifa kids, and you can look at them, what they are is they're a group of either college people, college kids, or ones just out of college, and they're dotted with a couple of college professors or somebody the likes thereof. These idiots have been brainwashed and seduced into promoting communism, blatant, flat-out communism, by some idiot professor that thinks just because he's read a few books, but has absolutely no real-world experience outside of academia, that his way is the best way. Disregard the fact that everywhere socialism and communism has gone, it's left nations raped. Because it doesn't work. Venezuela should be just a 24/7 news channel right now. We should just be setting up news cameras in there and just showing the stupidity that is socialism. So everybody can figure out for themselves where handing all of your livelihood to a group of people that are supposedly the elite and the smartest, who in reality are about as dumb as a bunch of box of rocks, because about the only real-world experience a lot of them have are politics. None of them have had to fight, scratch, claw, bite, and kick their way to whatever they have, like I've had to, and like some of you listening have had to. They have no real-world experience. And you want to hand your life over to these people? Good luck. Tell me how that goes. Just tell me how that goes, okay? I can tell you how it goes. Study Germany during World War II. Study Greece recently and their problems they're having when they ran out of other people's money and they're having to tap foreign resources and beg. They're just like a beggar standing. They're like the guy standing in the exit when you pull off that says, broke, and wants you to give them money. You know what happens when you give those guys a paper from McDonald's, an application, and say, hey, they're hiring down the road, you can go get a job. They start cussing at you and screaming at you. They don't want to work. That requires work. When you tell them, hey, look, I'll give you a ride downtown, and there's a place downtown where they will feed you and they will find you housing. No, that's not what they want. They want a free living. Now, not all of them. There are people that are destitute. I'm not going to deny that. They're destitute. And the statistics show, gasp, that a lot of these people have mental problems, mental issues. But some of the ones I see, perfectly capable human beings. And in fact, you watch them. I've seen this with my own eyes. So you can't say it doesn't happen. I have watched a guy sit on an exit lane just outside of where I used to work. And I watched him there, seen him there 3 or 4 times as I was coming and going, doing stuff business-wise. And then he walked down to the end of the street that my business is on, got into a vehicle that was better than mine, and drove off. I went, where do I get a car like that? And I'm trying to raise 3 kids, make a house payment, pay my electric bill, pay my gas bill, put groceries on the table, and I'm driving this beat-up, ratted-out old Jeep sitting out in the parking lot. It's because that's all I could afford at the time. And I'm looking at this stuff going, what am I doing wrong? Maybe I should just quit and go sit next to him and say, hey, I'm with him. Give me money too. This is where you're heading, Antifa. This is your socialism. This is your communism. You're idiots. And to look at them, look at their pictures too, same thing. Same thing. I'm surprised anybody was even hurt outside of the idiot with the car that decided he was going to take a really beautiful Dodge and just ram it into the back of people, and he killed somebody. Now he's a murderer. As far as I'm concerned, it should be first-degree murder. First-degree murder, and go after the death sentence for the moron. Just take him out. He doesn't belong in society. I'm sorry. But these people in Antifa are just as bad as what they were trying to fight against. And you look at them and they're the same way. They're these anemic little basement dwellers that have been on social media too long, and now they're angry. And so they have to cover their faces. They have to cover their faces because they don't want mom and dad to see them on TV, because if they do, they're going to cut their tuition, because mom and dad don't probably agree with what they're doing either. And then you throw on top of that Black Lives Matter. Now, Black Lives Matter on the surface sounds like such a great idea. Black lives matter. But you look at them and you tell them, yeah, they do. And so do white, yellow, brown, every life matters. And they get evil. That's not what it means. It means we've been oppressed. Well, you know what? Black Lives Matter, here's your turn, okay? You're no better than the white nationalists, the Nazis that were protesting. For the last 8 years, we've seen this Black Lives Matter group starting to form, and now they're just flat out blatant anti-whites. They are anti-whites. They don't want equality. They want the eradication of the white race. Listen to them. They say it. And, you know, they'll try to have an official stance. No, that's not what we're all about. But see, their hatred can't be squelched. It keeps overflowing, and you can hear them spew it out. People with Black Lives Matter in their social media bio. They attack whites, just boom, 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 boom. Everything's anti-white, anti-white, anti-white. They're not interested in equality. They have the same mentality that destroyed Detroit. They have the now it's our turn mentality. That every other race except the black race, especially the white race, needs to go to the back of the bus because it's our turn. Well, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about your turn. You don't just get it. You earn it. And you earn it by having a renaissance. By denouncing the culture of violence that's going on in places like Detroit, Chicago, Los Angeles, ad nauseum. You denounce that, and you start teaching your children. And here's the thing, a lot of blacks are doing this, the normal blacks, and we're going to get to that in a minute. Teach your children violence is not the answer. Hatred and bigotry against other races is not the answer. The answer lies in educating yourselves. Educating yourselves, taking yourselves to the next level, forgetting the naysayers and the people that insist that you have to have the government to help you in order to make it, and succeeding in spite of the people that want to keep you down, in spite of the real racists that get on you, succeeding anyway. That's how you become the people in the front of the bus. And I encourage it. I encourage that to the nth degree. I would help you in any way I could. But again, I say, and I've said this before, and I start to sound like a broken record, anybody that tries to denounce or decry or want to do away with one race so that another race can advance is a racist, is a bigot. No better than the skinheads, the Nazis, the people in the 50s and the 40s and the 30s, even the people who, for some weird, stupid reason, tried to justify in the Bible even, which makes me laugh, that black people were an inferior race. That always makes me laugh. That makes me laugh. I often wonder how things got that skewed back in the day. And some people even still hang on to that belief. And like, where is that? How is that? Where's that even justified? There's nothing justified. In fact, you know what? These same people probably hate Jews and don't even realize Jesus Christ was a Jew. Again, they're idiots. All of these people who had association with the white nationalists, Nazis, militia, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, Every one of them are being played, and they're too stupid to know it. And these Black Lives Matter, let me give you a little hint, people. The oppressors you seek out are the ones that you vote for. Again, let me tell you, the oppressors that you're looking to squelch, the people you want to overcome, are the exact people you vote for. They have enslaved you into a victimhood mentality. They've brainwashed you into believing you can't survive without a Hillary Clinton or a George Soros or a Bill Clinton. Rich white people. But they're not. They're not conservatives. These are the people that want to trap you into the neo-socialist chains, make you depend on the government. They've already got a lot of your people, your race that you're trying to free. They're the ones keeping you down. You want true freedom? Break the chains. Break the chains of having to rely on the government. Teach your children. You want to change these inner cities? And this is my big question. This is my big question. If the Democrats love you so much, how come all these Democrat-controlled cities like Chicago, Detroit, Los Angeles, how come the inner cities never change? How come they can't solve that problem? I'll tell you why. They don't want to. They don't want to. What they want to do is earmark a bunch of money for it and line their pockets. This person lines his pockets, hands the rest of the money to the next person, who lines their pockets, hands the money to the next person, lines their pockets. And by the time it actually gets to where it needs to be, there's only a drizzle of money. Haven't you noticed that yet? Haven't you woke up to that yet? And these aren't conservatives. These are the neo-socialist left that want to keep you enslaved. And it makes me happy. It really just makes me joyous when I see somebody, a person of color, wake up to the fact that this is what's happening. And what's really sad is there's more and more people waking up to the fact, but unfortunately the GOP that used to represent freedom and small government and liberties are on a deadly course towards being the new Democrat Party. They're just as big government nowadays. And the Democrats might as well just change their name to the Socialists, because they've gone so far left that they're extremists. Oh, but don't call them that. Don't call them that, because, man, they will unleash on you. That's politically incorrect. No, it's not. It's dead on. It's dead on. You're no longer the Democrat Party. Take the old Southern Democrats and compare them to what you have today. It's nothing like that. The old, I'm for the little people, even the Kennedy Democrats. The Kennedy Democrats today, if John F. Kennedy were here today, he would never get voted in as a Democrat. He's way too conservative. Yeah, he had leftist ideas. But, for God's sakes, you look at some of these people that are in offices right now. They're not Democrats. They're socialists and communists. Why don't they just rename their party? It's becoming a joke. This is why I no longer really truly identify with the GOP. And this new Federalist Party coming up, it looks more and more attractive every single day. And really, quite honestly, just to sum it all up, all the groups represented in Charlottesville, Virginia, were attention whores, okay? Every one of them, attention whores. I don't care which side you're on. They're all as guilty as the other. Yes, the skinhead, white, idiot, Nazi, I don't know, people that think all of a sudden, well, they've thought it's for years, that whites are the superior race. I don't know where they even get that from. It's an eye roll for sure. It's a variant strand of DNA. My DNA says my skin's one color. Your DNA says your skin's another color. Congratulations, it's called science. But they're attention whores. Not only that, but a lot of them are funded. Antifa is funded. Black Lives Matter is funded. These neo-Nazis, funded. Somebody is shelling out the money. This stuff doesn't just happen. Those signs don't just suddenly appear. Somebody pays for all that stuff. Somebody, some group is making money and gaining power by keeping us at each other's throats, drawing our attention away from what's really going on in the government. We're being exploited, and you have to wake up to that fact. All sides are being exploited. And if everyone all of a sudden starts getting along, we're going to figure out that the real problem lies in Washington, D.C. And oh brother, there will be problems. Now, I've made it perfectly clear that all sides, all people represented in Charlottesville, Virginia, are guilty. Every one of them. And if you don't think, and I don't even want to hear your justifications, okay? I don't even want to hear it. Because you're either guilty of being an attention whore, guilty of not being strong enough to just roll your eyes at people that are that stupid that think one nation, that the entire nation's going to all of a sudden turn white because they want it to. Or that you're out there with the mentality of thinking that whites should go to the back of the bus, that it's our turn, just because. And you're still thinking that we just got done with the Civil War, even though it's been gone a long time. And that there's all kinds of laws out there that practically hand you a living. Yeah, there's going to be racism. You're not going to eradicate it. But you're so hypersensitive, your skin is absolutely peeled off and your nerve endings are sticking out. And if anybody even looks at you, you think it's racism because you've been brainwashed. You've been indoctrinated. If you're out there thinking that capitalism is the devil and you're going to introduce communism because that's a better way, and you're going to do it by acting like a bunch of fascists and starting all kinds of violence because you're too stupid to read history books and realize that this is exactly how the communists were trying to get a hold of the United States back when unions were introduced into the working class. Every one of you are guilty. Why? Because you're not the norm. You are the fringe. And that's what this show is about. I'm even going to title this the Normality Manifesto because you know what? I'm sick and I'm tired of the fringe groups. You're not the norm. You know what the norm is? You know what the normal people is? The ones outside of these, quote, cultural epicenters, these higher educated coastal elite states. You know what the normal people are? The normal people get up and go to work in the morning. They have bills to pay. They don't have time to take a week off and riot and burn and loot and do stupid things because they're too busy working. And guess what? They work with people of all colors, all races, all creeds. They work with people that are gay, people that are straight, people that are Arabic, people that are Asian, people that are black, people that are Mexicans. And they all laugh. They all cut up. Yes, they'll have political differences. Some of them are conservatives. Some of them are liberals. Some of them are socialists. Some of them are hardcore communists. But you know what they do? They keep it to themselves. They respect other people. They coexist. Like, you see them stupid signs. Coexist. And there's an understanding that, hey, you stay out of my business, I'll stay out of your business, everybody gets along. This is the normal people, the ones out in the flyover states. They have jobs. They make livings. They want to get, you know what they want to do? And this is the thing. Whether you're a normal person in Russia, Iraq, China, Africa, South America, Canada, United States, the normal people, the people that just, the worker ants that carry the nation on their backs, All they really want to do is come home at the end of a long day and be with their families, have a nice dinner, love their wives or whatever they have, I guess, these days, play with their children, maybe, I don't know, paint, do a little sculpting, play some music, go out back, throw frisbee with the dog, play catch with their sons and daughters, push the kids on a swing, go for a bike ride. That's what the normal people want to do. They just want to be left alone. They don't want the government pushing the idea that, looking at stats and pushing the idea that, well, you can't have McDonald's anymore because we're a fat nation. They don't want it. They don't need it. They don't want the government in their everyday lives. In fact, here's an eye-opener for the people in Washington, D.C., the neo-socialists, the totalitarians, the authoritarians, all the Aryans that are out there in Washington, D.C. The reason a lot of people came here is to get away from people that you want to be, to get away from the authoritarians. The whole concept of the land of the free was candy to their ears. And now they come here just to have you make the push to turn us into a socialist nation? And not just the Democrats, but the GOP that is in power right now. Some of these, I don't know, what do you call them, rhinos? Big government programs. We don't want it. We don't want you. You're a necessary evil. Wake up. Hello, you listening? If for some weird, stupid reason that somebody in Washington, D.C. is listening, please get this all the way through. Everybody, just play it. We don't want you. You're a necessary evil, just like lobbyists. Our forefathers thought you were a necessary evil. They even wrote, and I'm paraphrasing this, they said if all men were angels, we would need no government. But we're not. We're not angels. Men are corrupt. People are corrupt. So we have to have government. We have to have government to make laws so that we don't infringe on each other's rights. That in and of itself should imply that our forefathers and us today should have in our minds that government needs to be as small as it can possibly be to still be effective enough to keep each other off of each other's rights, off each other's toes. By blowing it out of proportion, making it this big, huge, out-of-control Leviathan, all we've managed to do is pit one against another. And we have what we have in Virginia. It's not normal. And then throw the media in on top of all of this. See, the media is, again, one of these people. Their only existence right now, as it stands, is to make money, to get ratings, to get popular. The only way they can do that is to report on things that aren't normal. That's what the media is. They report on things that aren't normal. What good is reporting normal? Yeah, and it leads me back to thinking about a paper. I had a good friend in college that his mom and dad would send him the newspaper every week. And I used to laugh. They lived in a small town in Washington State. And they literally reported on normality. They reported on normal things. Mrs. Johnson's dog was lost for 3 hours the other day and they found it. So-and-so got a new haircut. And it was so charming. It was intriguing. But it probably didn't sell the newspaper because people don't want to hear about normal. They want to hear about the odd, the weird, the things that aren't normal. And that's what media does. But they've gotten so good at it and so good at marketing it that people that sit around in front of the TV all the time have come to believe that what they see on the news is the normal, is the new normal, is how they should act, what they should do. And it seeps into television shows. It seeps into these CSI shows and sitcoms and all this stuff. And now people believe that this is the new normal. It's not. It's the fringe. Socialism is a fringe. These neo-socialists, Antifa, Black Lives Matter, skinheads, Nazis, militias. I can go on and on and on. KKK, whatever. These are fringe idiots. They're not the normal people. Normal people don't have time for that stuff. We're too busy just trying to make a little bit of life in this world. To be fulfilled. To maybe even once in a while feel like we matter. That's what normal people are. We've been duped. We've been conned as a nation. And this is why we're having the problems we're having. We have literally been duped into believing that these fringe facets of society are the norm. We've come a long way as a world. We've come a long way as a nation. We've come a long way from the people that almost eradicated an entire race just so we could claim their nation. And then justified having free labor, which, oh, by the way, and this is another message for Black Lives Matter, look at who you're voting for. These are the people that believe that illegal immigrants coming in, or illegal aliens, they're not immigrants, they're aliens, coming here illegally so that we can have cheap labor, that's slavery. They're talking about slavery. You do realize that, right? You do realize that they want cheap labor because that's the new slavery. Listen to them talk. Listen to the people you vote for talk if you're voting for Democrats. They say it all the time. Who's going to pick the vegetables? Who's going to clean hotel rooms? Who's going to do the menial tasks? It's called slavery. And that's what they're promoting. Are you awake yet? Are you realizing that the people that so-called back you are the ones enslaving you? They are the problem, not the solution. Many of you have already woke up to that fact. Congratulations. I support you fully. Antifa, do you realize that what you protest is the exact thing that made you free to protest it? You've never read the struggles that happened in Europe, in places around the world, that leads people to flock here in droves in search of freedom? Of course you haven't, because you've been brainwashed. You idiot neo-Nazi skinheads, you morons that are out there protesting, who are stuck in pre-Civil War mentality. Don't you realize you're being played? You're the laughing stock. You're scapegoats. More than half of the population of the nation didn't agree with you back before the Civil War. What makes you think we're going to change our minds now? What makes you think that all of a sudden things are going to change? No. You got your bravery because you think you have a president that supports you. He doesn't. And if Donald Trump did ever come out in support of these idiots, I'd be the first one to attack him verbally and demand that he resign. He simply stated, and to the chagrin of the news, that violence on all sides is unacceptable. Why do I keep having to defend this idiot that I didn't even vote for? But he's right. And all of you are being played. You're little pawns in an arena. You're pawns in an arena in an attempt to keep us at each other's throats so we don't all wake up and realize just how bad that the people who want to control us have gotten. Because if it ever happens, if we ever all pool together and wake up and look at each other and go, oh my gosh, we're not a free country anymore. there's going to be problems. That's what they want to avoid. They want you distracted. They don't want you to think for yourself. They don't want you to be free. They don't want you to be individuals. They want to place you in nice little groups, nice little lumps of people so they can classify you. Because individualism, you can't classify. Individual thought, you can't classify. What I'm thinking right now, you may have already turned me off. You already may turn up your nose and say the guy's crazy. Am I really crazy? Nobody in Charlottesville was innocent this weekend. If you were there, and you went there to either start violence or thinking you could change the outcome, or there simply because you had an ego and somebody didn't represent what you think they should have, or if you were funded, if you answered an ad saying, hey, we're sending people there, you're a dupe. You've been duped. You've been screwed. And you're too stupid to know it. And if you were there promoting hate, no matter which side, you're guilty. If you had hate in your heart against blacks or Latinos or Asians or Jews or anything else, you're guilty. If you had hate in your heart against whites, you're guilty. If you had hate in your heart against capitalists, against anything other than your little, bubble you live in, you're guilty. You know what the solution to that whole problem was? Is everybody just ignoring them. Let them gather around their stupid statue. We have the freedom of speech. We have the freedom to peaceably assemble. But if everybody would have just turned their backs on them and went home and just laughed at them, the news reporters just saying, yeah, no, we'll take a snapshot of you, put you on the 5th page of some newspaper, bury you somewhere, yeah, whatever. It would have completely short-circuited the whole thing. What would they have done? They're there for attention. They're attention whores. And in the meantime, we have things like Korea going on, North Korea. We have the Cold War starting up with Russia that started up under the Obama administration and is continuing because we don't have any wisdom in Washington, D.C. to defuse the situation. We have problems, real problems, that can affect the normal people of this nation. And we've been drawn away from them by a couple of thousand people sitting in a little town screaming at each other. And now somebody's dead because of some idiot from Maumee, Ohio. Screaming at each other, punching each other, hitting each other. And every news camera everywhere is right on top of that. When 48 hours before that, we were asking ourselves, are we going to experience a nuclear holocaust? Real world problems? It's maddening. It really does make me lose faith in humanity. I mean, seriously, I scrolling through Twitter this weekend, scrolling through Facebook this weekend, it was just all hate, all rage, hate, false outrage. This side accusing that side accusing the other side accusing both the other sides. Justification for actions. And here's the kicker of the whole thing. Very few times did I see any comments, and I'm talking the derogatory comments, the ones that, what did I hear? Dan Wright said, whataboutism. It's all whataboutism. Well, what about these people? What about that people? Very few times did I see anything that resembled logic. What I saw mostly was just hatred, outrage, finger-pointing, whataboutism, stupidity. I lose faith in mankind when I see that stuff. I literally decided that I'm just, my presence on social media is just going to drop to a minimum. Just like in life, I have a few friends in little chat groups on the side that I actually care to deal with. And I'll interact with them, and that's just about it. Because I'm tired. It's exhausting experiencing this much outrage and hate. When in the real world, the normal world, the world where I actually exist, it's not there. It's not there. You look around and it's not there. Charlottesville, Virginia is this little crap stain on the map of the United States. Ferguson was just this little bitty town, this suburb of St. Louis, Missouri. It's not the norm. It's not. The media wants you to believe it's the norm. The neo-socialist left and the fringe right want you to believe it's the norm, want you to believe that we have to be at each other's throats. You have to stand your ground. You can't let your guard down one bit or the other side wins. The Hillary Clintons of this world, screeching, the Elizabeth Warrens, the Maxine Waters, screeching in your face that if you let your guard down for a minute, these crazy conservatives win. Oh, crazy conservatives? You mean the ones that want small government, fiscal responsibility? Nah, the federal government to stay out of our pocketbooks and our personal lives, those ones? They're not even the GOP anymore. The conservatives and the GOP, there's a split going on. Shoot, I'm looking at the Federalist Party right now. They seem to align more with what I believe in, which is what I just said. It's unreal. And I lose faith in humanity day after day after day after day. I have a hard time sometimes even coming on and doing this show. Because I sit there and think, what do I talk about? What do I talk about? Every week it's the same thing. Disaster after disaster. Stupidity after stupidity. We literally have, in my lifetime, I've spent the bulk of my lifetime literally having to put in my mind what would happen if a disaster of epic proportions happened and I had to save my family. Yeah, it's nothing new. Raids on other tribes and camps have happened since the dawn of man, since there was more than a few thousand people on the planet. It is, it will be, it always was. But normal people did not declare war on each other. Just the power hungry. The people who believe they're elites. The people who believe they were chosen by some deity because they know what's best for other people. It's all exploitation against normal people. You can go find the average working person in Russia. And if you could communicate with them right off the bat, ask them, what do you want? You know what they would probably say? I want people to just leave me alone so I can live my life. I want to have fun. I want to have kids. I want to do normal things. And then go to Africa and go out in the bush somewhere and find some tribe and just pull one person out of there and say, what do you want? Go to South America. Go find somebody, I don't know, somebody in Venezuela or anywhere. Just pick a South American country and go get the normal working person and ask them, what do you want? They just want to be left alone. They don't care what you believe. They don't care what your social stance is. They don't care if you got a bug up your butt about something or another. They just want to be left alone. They want you out of their faces. You know, Ronald Reagan said it best. Government is the problem. They're a necessary evil. They need to stand out of their way. We need to strive to get back to normality. We literally need to stop paying attention to these fringe groups. Because that's what they are. They're attention whores. And I'm winding this show up. I want you, if you take nothing else away from this madman's rant today, I want you to take this with you. When you see these fringe lunatics on the news, when you hear these fringe lunatics spouting off in public, even if you have to endure them for real, when you have to experience the ideologies of some of these fringe lunatics, your whole response should be just to look at them and say, you're not normal. You're not the norm. Normal people don't act like that. We have to get back. We have to get back to finding common ground. We have to get back to realizing that people don't think exactly alike. My political view doesn't align out here in the cornfields of southeastern Michigan, doesn't align with somebody that grew up in downtown Chicago. And their political view doesn't align with somebody that grew up in the Keys of Florida. And their political view doesn't align with somebody that grew up in the Ozark Mountains. But yet here we are in this nation, this big, beautiful nation, and we're being literally ripped apart by just a few abnormal people who want all the power, who insist that they know what's better for you and yours. Whether it be on a local government level, which quite honestly, I've seen local governments be just as authoritarian as freaking Nazi Germany. State level, look at California. Yeah, some of the ridiculousness that goes on there in their government, and they've driven them right into bankruptcy. Look at all of them. Look at all of them. They're lunatics. They're not the norm. Don't fall any longer for the media telling you that these fringe groups are the norm. They're not. Look at your own life. Look at your own life. If you're like me, you have friends of all races, all religions. You have friends that are straight, gay. They're people you interact with every day. They're the people you work with. And when you have to deal with them for your livelihood, you figure out a way to deal with them on one level or another. If we don't get back to that mentality, we're literally going to lose this country. We're literally going to lose this nation. We have to start telling these power-hungry political idiots who really are no smarter than the normal human being. It's just a lot of them were born into money. A lot of them have weaseled their way up the political ladder. We have to start looking at them and say, you're not normal. We don't want you. We have to start looking at the government as a necessary evil, not the norm, not an entity that has to be there all the time in everything we do. That's where we're losing it. I'm winding this thing up. Yes, you've just heard a complete hour of me ranting like a lunatic because I'm so tired of the crap that I'm seeing. I'm going to try to be back Friday because Friday I actually have something special going on. This is kind of a big week for me. And I'm going to probably pre-record my show in a couple of days because, like I said, this week has some significance to it. And we'll go over that later. But I'm Alan Ray, the Hardcore Patriot. God bless you. God bless the USA. Remember, we're the normal people. Stay normal. Don't fall for the crap. We'll talk again soon.
You can find Alan Ray on Twitter at 2cynical65 or at the Atomic Doghouse 1965.wordpress.com. Thank you for listening to The Hardcore Patriot.